When Chris went to Def Jam, I was like, Chris, I can't go. Like, I'm not, like they're not managing me, man. Like he went to Def Jam to learn what taught him, he took from Def Jam to create Violator. And I understood that. And I understood they were doing him a favor. And I understood they were grooming him and this, that, and the other.
And you respected
and we were his group, right.
Right.
And I respected it to death. But I, had to just straight heart to heart with him. Like, yo, Chris, do what you gotta do. I can't do that. Like, I already know what that's gonna be. It might not be today, but it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I already see it. So he was like, he laughing, this, that, and the other, but he got it. He's like, yo, I got somebody for you. He introduces us to Shakim over at Flavor Unit. And, we had Flavor of the Month out at that time. So it's not like they had to do anything. We was already kind of a moving machine.
Bubbling, right.
And it was a nice fit. We got a chance to be close to Log, meeting Tretch and them, saying.
That's Queen Latifah label, right?
So her management.
Her management.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always thought that was her label.
Well, I think they went on to put out some records. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But it sort of strictly as management. Mm-hmm. They had Naughty, and I think they had RSO, which was the Boston Cats and what have you.
Cats, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so they had us, and LaShawn, what have you. So it was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Nice was over there. Shakim,
like
Freddie Fox was there.
Fox, yes.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and
strong unit.
Yeah. So it was a good fit. You know what I'm saying? It was a good fit, and at least for the moment. And so that was the beginnings of us taking off as Black Sheep. And the Flavor of the Month I thought was gonna be a big single because like Flavor of the Month was probably one of my favorite songs ever recorded. And at the time, it was just so creatively done, and especially to know how the nuances of the record, how Long kind of freaked the sample, and this is at a time when you'd be playing the mixing board like an instrument, like you'd have different hands on different knobs trying to get the drops right and shit like that just before the automation, and you know what I'm saying? And I thought this song was insanely different and dope, and it had to take its main competition when it came out was O.P.P. If O.P.P. hadn't been out, when that song came out, I think Flavor of the Month would have been tremendous. But O.P.P. definitely gave it every bit of trouble that it could want.
What was it like when y'all came?
What
was it like when y'all came up with Flavor of the Month? I can't imagine how nuts the room must have went when you pressed play on that joint.
On Flavor?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Like it was just so different. You know what I'm saying? Choice was as well. Like the remix of Choice was insanity, but Flavor was just early and it was just infectious. It was soulful and infectious, and I really had big hopes for the record. I thought it was gonna be a really big record, and so right off the door, it was a little bit humbling to see that especially that I looked at O.P.P. as a little bit more gimmicky. Not that it's a gimmicky record, but it was a little gimmicky, you know what I'm saying, as far as,
the Michael Jackson sample. And
down with O.P.P., you know what I'm saying, a little stick, okay, other people.
That was like back in the day, Annie Up. Other people's property is
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Back in the day, Annie Up.
Little something. Yeah. Little something.
Called the call and response nature of it.
Right. And it was definitely, the packaging of it was definitely better than ours. The way O.P.P. was packaged was brilliant. You know what I'm saying? The stickers, you've seen it everywhere. It's a play on
with O.P.P. Right.
Guys and girls could play with it, you know what I'm saying? Beautifully done. And Vinny, I love Vinny from Naughty. That he's the glue. I like Vinny's the glue, and just good people. So when we was coming with the second single, we were like, okay, we have to do some shit that just unequivocally makes a statement. And like Long, when I heard the track that he had for the remix, I was blown away. I was like, oh shit. like I had never heard anything like that. I was like, oh shit. And Long was like, yo, y'all was gonna give this to Chi. I was like, no, no. Yeah. He's like, gonna give this to Chi. I was like, no. And before you give anything to anyone, play it for me. Just play it for me first. Because if you was about to get this away, you know
Lord knows what else.
Right. So we wound up doing a revamp. I wrote 3 new verses for that version, and recorded them. And we turned it into the label, and the label's like, this is amazing. But you know what? I like what you did with this engine number 9 part right here. let's just make that the remix. Let's use the first 2 verses of the regular, and then let's just make that the remix. You know, like this is our first deal. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're telling me that's what's gonna work, then let's do that. Cool. Wound up being a great call. So we wound up, you know, the first 2 verses pretty much the same. I said them over, but you know, they pretty much the same. Then the third verse, that whole part was wound up, but it was originally 3 new verses, but people are hearing, you know, the third verse differently. And I remember being in the studio with Long and we mixing it. And it's just me and him and Greg Mann. And we mixing this record. And I just turned along and I'm like, yo, I don't know what we just did, but I do know we just did something. I don't know what's about to happen, but I know something's about to happen.
What made you come up with the concept?
Huh?
Do you still tour off that song?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all over the world.
What made
Literally.
you come up with the concept of the choice is yours? Like this or that, and you know the choice is yours. Like what mind frame was you in when you were writing that?
Man, so much of the writing of that project was done in a village, in a time when the village was very artistic. At the time when if you was meeting cats, you'd meet in the village, literally. Like you know, we'd meet in the village from every borough. That was like the meeting spot. And this is my word. And I always ran with either a black book or I had like a little bag, like a little leather bag. A little leather bag had a little thing in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you always saw me with it. You know what I'm saying? But I always had pen and paper. And I'd sit in Washington Square Park at a time when Charlie Barnett, the comedian, would have a circle of people around him telling jokes, but the opener was a young Dave Chappelle. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Dave
And I'd be
Chappelle.
sitting right next to this shit, watching a young Dave Chappelle that no one knew, open for Charlie Barnett, writing rhymes for Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. The village was just a really artistic endeavor at that point. And, you know, it's always had the little limp wrist aspect to it. God bless, you know, ain't no problem with none of that. It was the artistry that I loved about it. The artistry of the village was dope, man. It was like, you know, like that's where we met. That's where there was so many clubs down there. We bounced from club to club to club to the studio.
Fat Beats.
Yo, yeah,
That everybody went to.
Yeah,
The
like
Cages.
yo, man, like
House of Nubian down the block.
man, shit, pluck you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like it was just
Electric Lady.
oh yeah, man.
Yeah,
Like
I remember.
it was just all there, and you know, and we'd just be out there like just vibing, just people watching, just putting shit together in our heads, beat shopping, man, running around and just learning ourselves and learning New York on a whole different level. So a lot of that album, A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, was conceptual to me.
Right.
I very intentionally, it's definitely A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. I very intentionally didn't take you where I came from. I very intentionally didn't tell you about what I just dealt with. Very intentionally, you know what I'm saying, like told you other things as opposed to something that was gonna put you in line for what I just got off of line. You know what I'm saying? And that was very much a conscious decision within myself because I didn't want to go back there.
Right.
Why would I put someone in tune with that? Like that was my feeling. And I was a little disappointed with cats. Don't get it twisted. I love the reality aspect of where we from and what we deal with. But it's bigger than that sometimes. Like when Biggie was talking about cats on a Peter Pan bus, I had niggas on a Peter Pan bus. So I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this to him, but in my head, I'm like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm literally hitting niggas like, nigga, nah, the Peter Pan bus ain't good no more. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how real shit was to me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't talk about my story because my story is bigger than me. I don't talk about niggas I came up with because niggas I came up with still get money. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't talk about a lot of things because it was much bigger than what I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to put you, like, this is my word, man. Like, when you go through that gladiator school, man, like, that's nothing that you want anybody to experience, man. You hate that you had to. You know what I'm saying? So I was always in tune with that. And don't get it twisted. There's times when you'll definitely get a taste of where I'm from. But where I'm from isn't who I am.
It's Hoffa. Trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars, I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work, you heard. Making fiends leave earth, you heard. Got your baby mama thirst, you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf, you heard.